Hello, my friends. This is April 8, and I welcome you to my Songs and Stories podcast. Take a second today to subscribe, and you'll never miss another song or story. Hello, my friends. I have some exciting news to share with you. Now is the time to sign up for my weekly newsletter. There will be free content, of course, but I'll be sharing exclusive stories, special songs, videos, live storytelling, and more from my paid subscribers. You don't want to miss these little treasures. You can find me on Substack at Stay Up Late with April 8, or go on over to my website, april8.com, and click on the newsletter link. And as always, that 8 is spelled out EIGHT. And now it's time to find out what happened next for Mookie. I like to start out all of my stories with a special little song that goes like this. Oh, ye time-bound travelers, lay down your cares and rest your bones, and I'll tell you a fairy tale that I have come to know. And now it's time for our story. Hello. So, we are at the 7th of 8 stories about Mookie and the Magic Egg. I'll try to catch you up if I can. Now, this story is about a boy named Mookie and his grandpa, who just happened to have hatched a rare Chromanian dragon in their basement. They want to take good care of her, but she's getting too big for them to hide, and she's so rare that they need to protect her. Mookie and his friends Larkin and Jimmy and Sander, led by our favorite fairy here at the April 8 Songs and Stories podcast, her name is Faith, went to see the Chatterburger to get some advice on how to raise a dragon. Now, what's a Chatterburger? Well, I don't know. Do you? You might call him a cat wizard. And now the Chatterburger has sent over a few brave helpers and some guidance. So right now, our old friend Tom Gnome and his big talking mouse friend Brizbane have come to Mookie and Grandpa's house. Here they all are at the kitchen table, deciding what to do next with this baby dragon who's not so little anymore. In fact, I could swear she grew an inch just while I was talking to you right now. So if you want to start from the beginning of these stories, go all the way back to the story Larkin and the Troll. Otherwise, here we go. So Tom Gnome nimbly climbed up the leg of Grandpa's old kitchen chair, and then he pulled himself up on top of the tidy wooden table, plopped himself down crisscross applesauce next to the salt shaker. Now Brisbane skittered up right behind him, leaping onto the table and scrambling onto Tom's shoulder. Even though this was the second time Brisbane had settled onto his kitchen table, Grandpa wasn't so sure how he felt about having a mouse on the table where he and Mookie ate all their meals. Grandpa always kept his house spick and span, and mice were not welcome in such a setting. So Grandpa took a deep breath, and he reminded himself that life is long, and there will always be new things to get used to, like a talking mouse on his kitchen table. Not to mention a real live gnome. And so Grandpa smiled because he loved to learn. And life was more interesting when he stayed open to new ideas. I guess that's what makes old people wise, he thought to himself as he looked on in amazement at the two magical creatures sitting on his kitchen table, looking up at him and Mookie so expectantly. So what if one of them was a mouse? Hey, does this little dragon have a name? Brisbane was asking, looking carefully at the dragon who was currently the same color and pattern as the kitchen rug. Mookie laughed. Well, you know what? We just call her Baby. I mean, we came up with all sorts of dragon names. I wanted Moonglow or Juniper. Those are great dragon names. But Larkin wanted Starlight or Starshine. And Sanders said maybe Frida after that artist because she paints with such bright colors. And Jimmy wanted to name her after her little sister Olivia, but that's way too confusing. So the only name that has stuck to her is Baby, and that's the only name she answers to now. So that's what we call her. We call her Baby. Right on cue. Baby, the rare, color-changing Chromanian dragon, trotted up to Mookie and wagged her spiky dragon tail at him. She turned the perfect shade of blue to match his blue jeans. Mookie wondered if dragons wagged their tails in real dragon world life, or if it was something Baby had just picked up from his sweet little puppy, Shemaiah. Because there was no question that this dragon thought she was a dog. Now Mookie reached down and he scritched the dragon behind the ears. Her dragon scales turned from a contented blue jean blue to a glowing golden orange, her happy color. Tom laughed. We sure found the right family for you, didn't we, Baby? The little dragon let out a long, soft sound, almost like the purring of a cat, and then she trotted back to sit with Shammy on the rug again. Now, that's a story that we want to hear. How in the world did you two end up with a dragon egg? Asked Grandpa. Oh, said Tom, I smelled it. It was sitting in the roots of an oak tree near Goblin Hollow. And my gnome nose smells everything, and believe me, that dragon egg had an unfamiliar scent, so we knew it wasn't supposed to be there. Maybe goblins stole it and put it there? They can make a lot of trouble. And Brizbane said, Yeah, I don't like getting caught by goblins. They play tricks on you when you're not watching. You had to be careful. Mookie tried to imagine what a goblin looked like. He could not. Because the thing is, Mookie, dragons don't live in Hawthorne Grove. So why would there be a dragon egg in our woods in the first place? A dragon would not lay an egg outside of their own territory, particularly a Chromanian dragon, because they're so rare. They're very careful. And then Tom said, Yeah, that's true. We've met a dragon before, so you know, they can disappear really quickly. And Tom continued, Anyway, we waited and we wondered, but we knew in our hearts that this egg was special and that it was most likely lost. And we also figured that it was magical because eggs don't usually grow after they're laid, but the whole time we were trying to decide what to do with it, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. I know, said Mookie, we saw that too. And then Tom continued, Brizbane and I tried to think of a place to hide it where nobody would find it. That big egg wouldn't fit in Brisbane's family nest in the stone wall. And we didn't want to take it into the gnome village and try to hide it in our cottage because everybody talks in the village and it would be really hard to keep a secret. And then Brizbane remembered your garden with the tasty peas and the chicken coop. Oh, Daddy now, said Grandpa, giving Brizbane the side eye. I'd like to know. But Brizbane interrupted. Yes, that's all very interesting, but listen, tell them the important part. Tell them what happened last night. Right, last night the Chatterburger himself came into the gnome village, Tom said to Mookie and Grandpa, and he knocked on our cottage door. Mookie said, He did? Yeah, said Tom. It was right after dinner, and you should have seen my dad's face when he looked up from washing the dishes and saw the Chatterburger standing at our front door. Tom did a funny imitation of his dad, pointing a shaking finger. Chatterburger. This imitation made Tom and Brizbane laugh and laugh. And my mom, she kept saying, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness." Well, anyway, the Chatterburger asked for me, and I was kind of scared of him, but he gave me this map for you. And Tom pulled a folded piece of parchment from his pocket. He carefully unfolded it and spread it out on the table. It was a map of Hawthorne Grove Woods with carefully drawn symbols and signs like nothing Mookie had ever seen before. But Mookie noticed an arrow pointing to something on the far side of the woods. Mookie put his finger on the arrow. "What is this arrow pointing at?" "Yeah, it's a good question. We think we've been there before," said Tom, nodding at Brizbane. And Brizbane ran across the map and he pointed down at the arrow. "If we're right, it's a cavernous cave. Pretty hard to get to for anybody bigger than like a gnome or, say, a mouse, but we can get there because we can get anywhere. Still, it's a nice place with some of the oldest trees in the forest. The Chatterburger told Tom that it's the safest place for your little dragon buddy to go." Well, Mookie looked over at Baby, all snuggled up next to her best buddy Shemaiah on the rug. Baby looked up at him with her calm and trusting golden eyes. She really was just a baby. "Hang on," said Mookie, looking at Tom. "Will she be all alone there?" His voice started to crack, and Grandpa leaned in. "We aren't leaving Baby alone in that woods. I don't care what your cat wizard says. That's not happening." And Tom nodded. He had been all alone in the woods before, far away from home, and he knew how lonely that felt. He wouldn't wish that on anybody. I've been thinking about that too," said Tom. Well, Mookie frowned. "Maybe if we get everyone together, we can make a plan. I bet Larkin and Jimmy and Sander will have ideas." He still didn't sound very hopeful. "I'm thinking we'll need all of their help to get her out to that cave," said Grandpa, looking carefully at the map that was spread out before them. "But I sure do wish somehow somebody knew how to get a hold of her dragon family. That's where she belongs. What do we know about Chromanian dragons?" "Well, we know we love her," thought Mookie, looking across the room at that not-so-little dragon sprawled on the kitchen rug next to Shemaiah. And a stream of morning sunlight played across her body and cast her shadow. Otherwise, Mookie noticed, he probably wouldn't have been able to see her at all. Her scales had shifted to match the exact color and texture of Grandpa's rag rug. It looked like Shemaiah was laying there alone with a dragon-shaped shadow on the floor next to her. Mookie thought, "We'll figure this out. I know we will." Snip, snap, snout. For today, my tale is all told out. If you like to hear more stories about Tom Gnome and Brizbane and how they met a dragon the first time, go back to Season 1, The Butterfly Adventure Stories with Tom and the Golden Butterfly. If you'd like to hear more about Jimmy, go to Episode 1 of Season 1, the Jimmy series, Jimmy and the Birthday Surprise. And if you want to hear about how Sander met a giant or Larkin met a troll, you'll find links to all of those in the show notes, or go to my Substack, Stay Up Late with April 8. Until we meet again, remember, I love you and you are wonderful, just as you are right now. La la la.